What's happening, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Real Talk. This week I have a very special guest, someone very, very close to my heart. And I'd like to introduce you all to Jack Kelly. Jack, you're very welcome to Real Talk.
Thanks, Melissa. Cheers for having me on.
I'm really looking forward to this. Gotta share with the whole entire world, this young man is my family. He's my nephew. He's 20 years of age. And I'm not bringing him on because I'm biased and I love the shit out of him, even though I'm biased and I love the shit out of him. I wanted to talk to him because he, for me, is quite an exception when it comes to what I look at as the norm for the youth of today. I've been on this journey for a couple of years. Mindset, positive thinking, healing, shadow work, whatever you want to call it. This kid is just turning 20 years of age, and what I've done in how many years? 12, 13 years, this man has been doing in the last, how long would you say? Would you say a year? Less?
Yeah, about a year, a bit less than a year maybe.
Okay, now let me explain what I'm talking about here. This young man thrives in the world of mindfulness, meditation, ice baths, flotation therapy, loves and follows the likes of Dr. Joe Dispenza, Wim Hof, to name a few. This young man is also one of the people I have had the pleasure of sharing the zero pointing process with, that he's been using to rewire his mind and rewire his programming, basically. And I'm in awe because you wouldn't be the average 20-year-old. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, you're right there. The way I look at it anyways, yeah, you're right there.
Yeah. I know when I was like 20 years of age, I wasn't meditating, let me tell you. I wasn't, definitely not in ice baths.
No, yeah.
So you really are, for me, quite an exceptional young man to be as aware as you are, as dedicated as you are, as passionate as you are. And if you're okay with this, I would love to begin with what it was that took you on this path at such an early age.
Yeah, so I suppose in my younger years of growing up, I was very sporty. I enjoyed my sports. I enjoyed hanging out with friends, the normal, before you're a teenager, the normal crack that you do in Ireland, and
the normal crack that you do being the normal things that you do. I think
yeah.
we'll have some fun here because everybody's always giving me a hard time about my accent, and you are me and I am you and we are one and we actually talk the same. So my American friends are going to have a field day trying to see what the pair of us are saying. Sorry, you were saying, so you experienced a lot, you were very sporty at an even younger age.
Yeah, and so I was going up years, but I also kind of suffered with a bit of my mental health, I suppose, growing up at such a young age, which is kind of unusual at that age. When you're a bit younger, you're usually outside playing around and stuff like that. I was at the same time, I was kind of, suffering with my head a bit, and
like
as I kind of
is it
anxiety, that was the number one kind of thing that I found that really kind of ate me up inside a lot growing up, and I suppose that's what kind of got me started on realizing that there's something going on here. I need to start changing up. Especially I remember school time was a tough time. My primary school years, and going into secondary too was very tough with the whole anxiety thing. And I suppose that probably sparked off this whole journey. That was the number one thing that I can really go back to and say, yeah, this is what sparked it off for me.
Can I ask, what did anxiety look like for you when you were a kid, or even when you were a teenager earlier? Like you're 19, he's gonna be celebrating his birthday next month. What did anxiety look like to the kid who was in like a secondary school or high school to other people watching?
Yeah.
What did anxiety feel like? What did you experience?
Yeah, I suppose trapped is a word I use. Trapped, suffocated, be a big one. Kind of just feeling like you're the only person in the world that's going. This is what I kind of felt like. I was the only person in the world going through it, and that there was no one else there for me, in the sense that I was all alone, and that basically it was me versus my head, which was the anxiety, was me versus the anxiety, and that was it. And I was getting battered. I was at the time, because that's what I felt like. I felt like I was suffocating.
Would you have shared with anybody at the time what you were experiencing in your head, or what you were feeling, even emotionally speaking? Do you think you had the capacity to actually share what was going down with other people, including your family members or your friends or anybody?
At the start of, maybe when I first realized that, okay, maybe there's something up, it was probably, I did hold it back. I held it in. I suppressed it a bit. I really did. And I remember it came to a point where I had a really bad anxiety attack in school. And I remember I didn't like the way I was feeling in front of my class members. And I said to myself, when I went home, I said, I need to speak up. I need to say it to someone. And I said it to my mum. I suppose they were kind of catching on there was something up, just from the way I was acting and stuff previous to it. And when I said it to them, in fairness, my mum and dad were great help. Were brilliant help, you know. And of course, you were a great help along the way too, you know, because I could turn, like, my mum and dad, brilliant, it got me so much help, and just I was able to talk to them about it, and it gave me a bit of comfort, you know. It really did. At that time, it gave me a really bit, like, it was a starting point to getting better when I explained it, and I got it out there.
And would you find anxiety is something that really immobilized you from moving forward with regards to, like, you know, integrating with your peers, your self-confidence, your self-esteem?
Oh, of course.
Would you find that would have been very impactful on how you would have interacted with the world?
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time. And looking back on it now, which this is the first time I probably actually looked back on that experience, which is kind of cool to look back on it now. So this, it impacted me a good lot. Like, at the time, like, it affected my sports massively at the time. Like, I was playing a lot of Gaelic football, and I was doing a small bit of boxing at that time.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time I didn't go to a lot of the training sessions, because I would have been having a panic attack previous to the training session, and I just, like, no, it's not worth to go to it. I don't want to show myself. And I remember I started to lock myself away for a good lot. I'd used my Xbox and technology as a getaway from going out and interacting with nature and interacting with my peers. And looking back on it now, that was the wrong way to go about it, because that was just making things worse. The games I was playing, like GTA and stuff like that, weren't great to be, like, when you're going through the anxiety, like, you weren't in Call of Duty and stuff like that. That was crazy thinking back on it now. Why were they playing them games? But that at that time, yes, it did affect me. Like, I locked myself away. I got overweight, which I was, at that time, as I was saying there, I was a very fit young person. I was playing a lot of sports, and I locked myself away for the majority of when I was going through the anxiety, and I ate a lot, and just very unhealthy, I suppose.
Can I ask, do you think is anxiety a lot more common in the younger generation? That's what I'm gonna label it, so I don't make myself sound too old.
Yeah, of course.
But do you think anxiety and overwhelm is a lot more common in the younger generation than you guys actually even realize? Because from what I'm hearing you say as you're talking, is that in your experience of what anxiety was, that you felt quite alone, quite isolated, quite in your head. You didn't think that anybody else would or could understand what you were going through. And so you decided to say nothing, suppress, keep it all down, keep it all in. In your opinion, is this a lot more of an issue for society today, for younger kids today, than they even realize?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is. From the experience that I had in some situations, I can see in some people, like, I was at that point. I was there, like, in some of my friends, like, that maybe are going through. I know a couple, like, I said to myself sometimes, like, I can see me and them from back then, if you get me.
Yes.
And I suppose with the help that's out there at the moment, where a lot of people have come out and spoke about their
Go on ahead.
Sorry about that.
You're all
A lot
right.
of people that came
The
out and
joys of
spoke about
technology. Yeah.
Their experience through using the media and stuff like that. I suppose a lot of them now are kind of understanding what it is a lot better in a sense. So if your answer to that would probably be, I'd be grateful for what I suppose people have gone through, that they can explain it now in great ways using the media and stuff like that, you know.
Do you think that social media then has helped the capacity to communicate what you guys go through? I mean, so the reason I ask is I can't, this is my perspective looking back in my world, you know, 20-year-olds having chats about overwhelm, anxiety, overactive thought processes, busy mind. We definitely wouldn't have been sitting down talking about those things, right? In your world now, which is very different from mine back there, and I appreciate that. Would you find that that you guys would at this point be more open to communicating about how it is you feel, how it is that you experience or see life amongst each other? Or do you think is there still a lot of stigma or judgment around you know, other people's opinions on what each other go through in your particular age group?
To a certain degree, I do. I think that maybe social media in a way doesn't help the situation, as obviously like the cyberbullying, a lot of judgment is placed online because people feel the need, they can do that and they have the right to do that, which doesn't help a lot of people, you know, especially if someone has a platform on social media, for instance, and they put up a picture and that's what they do for a living. And you can see in the comments a lot of the time, a lot of judgment and a lot of hate towards them, which some people just can't really take that well. You know, some people are fragile rather than other people, you know, and but then you look at social media in other ways and you can say, you know, like it is a good help for people like that, you know, and like a lot of people can, my age, I notice, do put up stuff about mental health, especially around these times with the whole lockdown stuff and all that crack, and like they're getting more open about it because there is more people now during these times going through it, you know, and which I find great. I really do find great, because I say to myself, like, I kind of look back on when I was going through it and I said, if I had that back then, how much easier it would be, how much free I'd feel, you know. So yeah, I suppose it does. Yeah, around our age, there is people talking up about it, and that's why
you guys are talking
really
more. You find that you're being more accepting of each other more now.
Yes, I do. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. That's great. Actually, really good to hear. And can I ask then? So, just to get back to your own personal journey of transformation, journey of transformation at 20 years of age, guys. I'm like, you know, I've said this to you many times. I have total respect for you. Your resilience, your dedication, your tenacity is just, it's inspiring, and it has inspired me in my world. Can I ask, just for you to talk to a couple of the things that you have done? Like, I know we spoke at the beginning of this about the likes of meditation. Breath work is another one. Before we came on here, this man was getting laser focused at his breath work, and I'm there going, I'm here laughing because I keep getting the fits of the giggles every time I do this, or else I think I'm going to die and I'm going to get sick or something. And Jack's focused, he's there, and he's sitting where he was right there, and he was centering himself, he was balancing himself, he was just really bringing himself into the now moment. And I'm like, it's taken me like 40 odd years to get to the understanding that everything is in the now moment. How or when or where did this all come up and rise for you?
Yeah, so I suppose if it's going to sound mad, I literally just woke up one morning and I said, that is it. I thought it was the weirdest experience I've ever had. I literally just woke up one morning and it was like the universe just guided me through it to a new path. Like, it was like if my anxiety had just disappeared and all the negative thoughts had just disappeared, and it just showed me a new path towards where I needed to go.
So like that, all of these thoughts and feelings, they kind of like subsided. They took a sidetrack for new stuff to come in that would actually help you to do that. Is that what happened?
So like I suppose my sport would be number one, where I found I was starting to change mentally. So obviously
Okay.
with the boxing, I found that I was after setting myself a goal. I was after setting myself to where I was so dedicated, so focused that I had just there was no distractions.
And what
So
is the
number one, I
focus? What is the dream with regards to your boxing?
yeah. So the dream would be to go professional, world champion. That's my dream with
Okay.
the boxing, to go the whole way and become world champion.
And how
And
important
that's
do you think is your mindset and all that?
it's just looking like through my experience. Like I started competing when I was 16. From then on, the minute I started competing, I realized that your mindset is 100% of the journey. Like I think it's number one. You have to get your mind right, and that's what I've been working at, and that's why I think that's when I started to wake up, when I realized, okay, mind is number one. Like
Yeah.
your mindset has to come first.
Have
Has
you
to.
noticed in your training in the likes of the boxing, so we'll just go there for
Mm,
example for a couple of
yeah,
minutes,
yeah, no, but
you understand that your focus, your mindset,
mhm,
your your future vision is
mhm,
extremely important. How about the likes of when the emotions come in? How did you find
yeah,
they would impact, or did you find even that they would impact, um, interfering or playing havoc with how you chose to see you when your emotions come in on top of that, or any negative thought processes or negative self-talk, because
mhm,
you will have been familiar with the anxiety, so you will be familiar
of
with the
course,
negative self-talk and
of course,
always pushing yourself down and telling you that you weren't good enough.
yeah.
When the emotions kick in and the negative thought processes kick in, how did you find that you could stabilize those? What would you do?
Yeah. So like, I suppose number one, with the when them thoughts did hit me at first, where before I focus on them thoughts, I put a lot of energy in on them thoughts, and I let them just take me off that direction.
Yeah.
And I found myself getting so caught up in them that I was forgetting about say what I needed to do in the sense of training. This when I first started into the boxing, so I was really caught up in them thoughts at the time. So how I forgot about them, I suppose, was through sitting myself down in a meditation. When I found out by reading about the meditations, when you can sit yourself down, sit with the negative thoughts, sit with the thoughts that are really eating you up, and stay with them and take control of them through staying present in the moment through meditation. And that's how I just at that moment in time with that I found that was great help with the negative thoughts on the boxing aspect of things.
So to the allow the thoughts to come in, to
Yeah, exactly.
allow
Like
everything in and be with them is what I'm
I
hearing you say.
suppose, yeah, I suppose just not allow them in and not to give them an identity in a sense with your own
Epic.
thoughts.
And come here, you meditate every day, a few times a
That's
day.
right. Yes, I meditate every morning when I wake up. I do 3 or 4 rounds of the Wim Hof just to really set me up for the day, gets me in a nice balanced state,
The
and
breath work as well, is it?
yeah, so it's an intense kind of I suppose in a pranayama kind of style breath work. Wim Hof is, if another way, if people don't know, it's kind of really deep breathing. It's
Okay.
great. I find it
And so
really just
you do breath work and meditation in the first thing in the
that's
morning.
yes,
That's just
that's right.
okay.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, I met him in town here one of the days, and he was heading
Mm,
home on his lunch break from work. I says
mm,
to him, what are you going to do? No, I'm going home to meditate. And I'm like, what?
mm, yeah.
I mean,
When it,
I've because I find it personally, I always have found it hard to tap into meditation. I always
yeah,
understand the importance of it, but the actual practice of it, when I initially heard about what meditation really is, I'm like, I found it really hard to keep
yeah,
my focus. I'd imagine from the drive and the determination that you have surrounding your mindset with regards to the boxing,
yeah,
that that actually allows you then to stay very disciplined when it comes to committing to the practice of meditation on a daily basis, on account that you know how important it is for just stabilizing everything and calming everything
yeah,
down in your world, especially coming from a history of huge anxiety. What I was going to ask you was, is there any particular styles or form of meditation? Would you do guided meditations, or do you just kind of sit with yourself at periods, or what do you do?
Yeah, so I do the breath work, then that just kind of stabilizes me before the meditation. And then
Oh, cool.
sometimes I go into so that I find that really stabilizes it. That gets you ready for the meditation, gets you ready for getting into that kind of, I suppose, Zen kind of feeling. You feel
Yeah.
really at home and relaxed. And then I go into a guided meditation sometimes. I like Muji. Muji has really nice guided meditations, and sometimes the guided meditations are great because you can take your mind off. Say if you had negative thoughts coming back in, flowing back in, to take your mind off them. If I'm feeling that I'm in control of my thoughts throughout the day, I just do a meditation where it's kind of, I sit with myself and I start to visualize my future self, and I start to visualize my outcomes of what I want happening. And that's really interesting. That's really good because it kind of gives you a boost of confidence then when you're going into the ring.
Brilliant. Another thing that I'd love for you to talk more to is your love of the ice baths.
Oh yeah.
And myself and Jack ventured into the world of flotation therapy during what was it, August of last year?
Yeah.
And so the two of us would jump in the car and head off flotation therapy and the unknown. If you could talk to either of those two things, because I think all of these things really help people, especially people who are new to them, new to breath work, new to flotation therapy, or the benefits of an ice bath, which I haven't braved yet myself. I have with the flotation therapy, but not the ice bath.
Yeah.
And so I think that sometimes when we share information on what they are, people might be keen to try them or venture into the unknown.
Definitely.
What do they do for you?
I find the ice baths absolutely brilliant. I find them a way to get in control of your mind without a doubt about it, that you're gonna, the minute you, like, I suppose in a sense, take control of fear, if
What
I'm going to put it in
happens?
a better way.
So what happens when you decide to jump in? Can I just actually stop for 1 second, just to give a bit of background into this as well?
Mm.
The lockdown hit last March, and this young man, instead of allowing the lockdown state of mind to kick in, decided to create his own home gym so that he could still commit to doing what it was he said he was going to do. So he's his own little gym set up at home with his own equipment. And is it fair to say you train on a daily basis?
Yeah, I train 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 days
Very
a week.
dedicated. And then recently, his love of ice baths took him to creating one in his own, the back of his own house as well. And our Irish weather, let me tell you, is perfect for it right now because it's bloody
It's
freezing here
brilliant.
all the time.
It's great,
So
isn't it?
you go and you decide to jump into an ice bath. What happens? What
Yeah,
happens to your head? What happens to your body? What happens to
of
you?
course. Yeah, so I the minute I decide to do it, and my mind is automatically telling me you're absolutely mental. Don't do it. Straight away you can feel your head kick in. You're absolutely crazy. And sometimes I just ignore it. And then I say to my mom and dad, just going out the ice bath. And then they're saying, don't, you're absolutely crazy. What? Yeah. And I'm saying to them, Jesus, I have two battles now to fight. But so I have to keep really focused. Like, you actually have to keep focused before you go into this thing. Like, it is, I know it's only an ice bath, but it's kind of essential putting yourself through a bit of torture, for however long you do it for. And I do find straight away kind of fear kicks in.
Okay.
And you do have a few downward thoughts. Anxiety kind of creeps in again. And that's what I love about it, because I set myself up to go in after a good training session, and I get into my shorts and I step outside, and just as before I get in, I'm saying to myself, right, just go away. And you just take this leap in your head. You take the leap, you put your foot in, you put your second foot in, and you're like, oh Lord, what did I get myself into? And you just go straight down. And the minute you sit into that water, you become, I suppose, you become so present. That's the way I can, like, you become so present that there's no thoughts coming in. There's no, this is really cold kind of thoughts. This is dangerous. What are you doing? All them thoughts just vanish. And I say after the first 30 seconds, you're in complete control of the whole situation. You can really dictate where your mind is going. And I just find it a sense of, I suppose, peace in a
Mm.
way. Also, you're getting the physical benefits then between muscle, relaxing your muscles, and great for your immune system. Puts it under a good stressor and really benefits your immune system, and really good that way. And the minute then you get out of it, you feel like you've conquered Mount Everest.
Oh, bless. I
You know,
love
you
it.
really do.
It really sounds like when just listening to what you just described,
Mm,
it really sounds like you have an experience two very extreme battles of the
yeah.
mind. You get to witness the mind absolutely terrorize you prior
Mhm.
to, and then the absolute stillness and actual lack of presence of it when you sit into and immerse yourself in the water.
Yeah,
Is it
you do. Yeah.
is it or has it been easy then for you to actually witness the chaos of your mind in those particular moments where you're about to go in, and you can hear the noise and you can hear the opinions, for example, you said there, of other people going, "You're crazy, what are you doing?" I mean,
Mm.
I haven't tried it yet. I
Mhm.
keep saying I will. I haven't
You will.
braved
I
it
get you
yet.
down one of these days.
No, I will. But
Definitely.
as of yet, I haven't. But I was just
Yeah.
listening to what you're after being saying. It's like you get to experience firsthand how loud the mind becomes
Yeah.
when you're about to do something that you're not supposed to do, or you
Yeah.
shouldn't do, or no matter how good something is for us. I've, in my own experience and witnessing others, I've observed their resistance to trying something new because they're afraid of it, because
Yeah.
they don't know what it's going to be like or feel like, because they're afraid somebody else is going to judge the shit out of them for doing it.
Yeah.
Um, the way you described it, because we haven't talked like this about the specific topic of ice baths, for example,
Yeah. No.
it really
Yeah.
sounds like you can really see your mind in motion and the detriment and equally the power it has all at
Mm.
once.
Yeah. Definitely. And you really see it from multiple sources of view. You know,
Yeah.
you really do. You can see it from a lot of different angles, and I can see how my mind, probably back then, I was so probably unaware, and I can see how my mind took over. I
Yeah.
can see how I was able to listen to it and let that take me that way.
Mm.
And now I can see that I have complete control at any time.
Yeah, you have a
That's what
choice.
the ice baths are giving me.
The realization that you have a choice where your mind goes and what your mind
Yeah,
feeds and what your
definitely.
mind nurtures or what your mind latches onto, and how
Yeah,
it can literally in one swoop say, yeah, you could climb Mount Everest, Jack, let's do this shit, to Jack, you're not
yeah,
worth shit. And the
yeah,
capacity to use your discernment as to which side you feed
yeah,
in
yeah.
another
That's
sense.
brilliant. That is, yeah, definitely.
How about the flotation therapy? How did you find that?
That
So
was
to anybody who doesn't know what the flotation therapy is, it's like sensory deprivation tank, and um, you can't hear anything in there, you can't see anything, you are immersed in it's just water that comes up about to your shin and your leg.
mm,
It's
mm,
really low level. It's filled with Epsom salts, and the water is the same temperature as your body. So when you lie in this water, you're completely floating,
mhm,
can't see anything, can't hear anything. It's pitch black, and you are left with you. When we go there, there's a place in Ireland here, floathouse.ie is the website here in Ireland. Highly recommended. It's an epic place. I use a float room. Jack uses a float pod. Um, and our our first our first experience down there was very funny because I mean, we won't go into what happened to you there in too much detail, but we both got to witness, like, we were really excited about the idea of doing this. Neither of us had a clue what we were doing, what it would feel like, what we were going to experience, because it was so new. But one thing I would say from my own vantage point of having done that is, um I was met with myself in that float tank when there was no distractions from anyone or anything, I was met with myself, and similar to meditation, all the thoughts come in,
Yeah.
all the emotions, all the feelings, and they come in like really fast.
Hmm.
And then if you can stabilize them, there's nothing. How was your experience of it? I mean, you don't have to tell, tell
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
about what happened the first day, but you know what I mean in
yeah.
general, and mentally and physically.
I suppose mentally and physically, like absolutely, the benefits amazing, absolutely amazing. But yeah, really getting into them when the first experience when we went up, I didn't know what to expect. It was really going
Mm,
into the unknown, I suppose, wasn't it?
yeah,
You're really going into the unknown, and I suppose it's like a different version of the ice baths in a sense. Like it's obviously the opposite between the cold and stuff like that. But you're putting yourself in the unknown again by going in, venturing into this tank that
mm,
it's going to be enclosed in on top of you. The lights are off, and you're just there with your thoughts. And I suppose at first it was my mind's worst nightmare because I'm gonna have to sit there with my thoughts. And but there was
yeah,
another part of my head saying, "Go for it, go and let's do this."
yeah,
I remember when you first rang me up and you said to me, "Would you be interested in doing them?" I was after watching maybe I think it was an episode of Joe Rogan,
mm,
and I was after listening. I said that'd be absolutely crazy to do one. It'd be brilliant. And you rang me a couple of days after, and you're like, "You're coming up to the floor." I was like, "What the hell?" I was like,
yeah,
"That's brilliant." And we went up, and it was just one of the best experiences I've ever had because I was there. I got to, as you said there, I got to witness my thoughts hitting me head first,
mm,
and I just got to diminish them. Like if I was in control again, like if I had my thoughts and I could just pick them up, put them into this box, lock it forever, and they were gone. And
yeah,
every time I go, and every experience I've had has been, it gets better and better. It's like you
yeah,
just completely go and you feel absolutely amazing coming out of it. Like you
yeah,
feel like you're on top of the world,
yeah.
you know?
Um, we're back in lockdown. You know,
Yeah.
again here, like so many places everywhere.
Mm,
Um, how have you maneuvered that lockdown state of mind? What have you been doing to
yeah.
counteract it? Have you been still actively training and
Yeah.
as dedicated to all of these things?
Oh, definitely. Definitely, of course. I suppose we've been through so many lockdowns now, I can't even count. But I suppose through the first one, right up until this one, I've kept my whole routine the same. Like
Mm,
it's like I suppose people say you should change up routine, but like mine has just suited me perfect. That
yeah,
I feel really comfortable doing it, and I just feel great. Like in the whole mindset thing. Like I've actually got a nutritionist with me and a strength and conditioning coach all in the one with me for this lockdown. He's just keeping track of what I'm eating, and
yeah,
he's keeping track on top of my training and my weight, all that kind of stuff, which is making me feel like I'm actually doing something. This, like the fact that I can't go to a boxing gym and train, obviously for the whole circumstances, I still feel like I'm putting in all the work, all the effort, especially with the home gym. It's been
yeah,
really good. Like that's keeping me on top of myself. I have no excuse now. I get out there after work. I go straight in there and I get a good session in. I come out. I have the ice bath there. Nice recovery. Get into the ice bath, and
see,
then
this is what I'm talking about.
yeah. So it
It's
is
incredible.
honestly, I'm absolutely grateful for everything that has popped up in my life in the last in the last 2 years, and it's only going to get better. It's great. It
You really
really
are
is.
amazing. Your mindset, your outlook, and your attitude is just incredible, Jack. It really is.
Thank you.
And I mean to anybody watching you right now,
Yeah.
you hold an impeccable mirror of what's possible up to each and every one of us.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing that I'd love to talk to for a couple of minutes is
Mm,
your openness to experiencing what the zero pointing process
yeah.
is, and how open you were to exploring the entire process that is zero pointing in order to clear programs like
Hmm.
anxiety, like
Yeah.
overwhelm, like
Yeah.
how it affected your confidence.
Of course. Yeah.
To anybody who's watching, can you share how important you feel it is for people
Mm,
to address whatever it is within them? I mean, you and I have both used this process. I'm a facilitator, and you're
yeah.
a person who practices as well as myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can to anybody who's could you speak to anybody who has you know, underlying programs still very much running within them. Anything that you'd say to a person who's looking to clear these programs from their system but not really having any idea of just how beneficial it is to have a fresh slate minus
Yeah,
these really harsh judgments of self, really harsh
of course.
attachments to our stories, how important that would be.
Yeah,
Or how has it impacted you or the way you've cleared your stuff?
yeah. 0 point in when you first came to me with it, I was completely like, I didn't really get it, obviously, because it was a new thing to me. But the way you were explaining to me with such determination, and I suppose such focus on the whole idea of it, I kind of was a bit intrigued by it. I was like, okay, this must be, this must be good. So I'm going to get going on it. And when you explained to me how to do it, I started off, and it was a bit uncomfortable at the start. I was trying to say to myself, okay, how am I going to think of all these things, these judgments, all this stuff in my own head, because I never done that before. So I
Yeah,
suppose I had to become really conscious of what I was thinking, and what I was feeling. And so when I started to put it down on paper, it was like if you were carrying around a big weight on your shoulder,
mm,
on your two shoulders.
yeah,
And every list I did, it was like someone with a chisel, and they were just chiseling away parts of that stone on my shoulder. And every time I was straightening up, my posture was coming back, and I was just feeling a lot lighter. And all the scenarios that I was feeling uncomfortable were just easing up. Everything was getting a bit easier, you know.
yeah,
Um, and it's just been absolutely the whole, like, I'm still learning on it, obviously.
yeah.
And you're helping me out big time with it. But that's what I felt when I first started to do it. And and it's like your chest. It's like a weight lifted off your chest.
Yeah,
That's the only
it's
way I can put it.
a
It's an amazing
brilliant.
feeling.
It's a brilliant way to describe the internalized pressure that we actually all feel.
Mm,
And I've never heard to describe it that way. To chip away at anything that's not uh,
not yours.
true for you. Yeah, that's not yours.
Mm,
That's not true for you. That's not good for you. Like you said, that's not yours. It's
yeah,
incredible. Is there anything that you would say to anybody who feels the weight of the world on their
yeah,
shoulders right now? Because so many people are under a lot of pressure.
definitely, definitely.
Is there anything
I'm gonna.
you'd say to them? Not so much, you know, is there anything you'd say to them that you feel that might benefit them or would help them?
All I'm gonna say is just ride the waves, keep going, keep going, keep literally just keep going. That's it. Don't let your mind take control of you. You're in control at every second. You are in control, and you can change it. If you're feeling down, don't eat yourself up about it. It's normal
Yeah,
to feel down sometimes. Just make sure that you wake up the next day and you have a clean, fresh plate, and you can get the day started in the right positive way. Um, if I was to say, try meditation,
mm,
try getting out in nature, try doing something that you really enjoy. I found once I stuck to something I really, really enjoyed, I really found love in, and I didn't let my mind take me away from that.
yeah.
Say, from all the negative thoughts, take me away from what I really loved doing. That's when I started to take control back of the thoughts, when I found that I was going down the wrong track. When I stuck to what I really enjoyed doing, and I stuck to all the positive things that were making me feel happy, then I started to change direction and go back down the path that really
So
I found secure.
nourish the things you love.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
How
Because
about to anybody who is afraid to try something new, afraid to try the likes
yeah,
of meditation, afraid to try
yeah,
a nice bath, or like I know these are the things that we've spoken to today are the things that you're interested in, and
yeah, of course,
somewhat
yeah.
myself. But to anybody who wants to silence their mind but is afraid to try something new, what would you say?
Um, I just say go for it, because the unknown. I always say the unknown is a beautiful place.
Mm,
Like, it just, when you feel like, oh, I don't know if I should venture down there, go down there, because it's going to open up a lot of beautiful things.
yeah,
Um, like, I suppose, like with the meditation and stuff like that, a lot of people find it hard to do it, and I found it hard to do it at the start, but I found it was just one of the best things that really quiet my mind and really helped me out, especially guided meditations, because you
mm,
don't have to. They can ease you into being able to sit present when you have a guided meditation, it really does help. So I'd say start off with the guided meditations, and then stick to what you love doing.
So what I heard you just say was silence the mind, open your
Yeah,
heart, and lean into the unknown. Let your intuition guide you into the
yeah,
unknown if it
exactly,
feels right. And how
exactly.
about to anybody out there who, how do I say this? What would you say to anybody out there who doesn't quite understand when somebody takes a different route, a route
Mm,
of the unknown, a route of the untraveled,
yeah,
and you can see their fears, their limitations, impact on other people? What would you say to the people who want to do things a little bit different, who have the quirkier mindsets, who, you know, like especially at your age, if they're branching out to do something different? What would you say to the ones who are afraid to do
hmm
something different because they've been so conditioned to do it a
yeah.
specific way?
I'd say just express yourself as best you can. Like, again, like, I love using this quote. I read this quote quite recently. It was like, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you may seek to find."
I
I
love
really
this.
like that quote because that
Can
quote
you
hit me hard
say
because,
that again?
yeah, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you may seek to find. A friend actually sent me that quote and it hit me like right in the heart. Like, it hit me because
Yeah.
I was like, I'm here. This was a couple of weeks ago. I was here. I was having a couple of negative thoughts spring back up about what I was doing though. I suppose the lockdown kind of was eating me up again about I was after being my training was cancelled, my fighting was
Hmm.
cancelled.
This
So I was
the
saying to myself,
second big lockdown here in
yeah, the
December.
second bit,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And I was saying to myself, like, I need to get back to training properly. I need to. And when I took a step back, I got sent that quote, and I was saying to myself, like, just keep the focus, like, keep the focus. I suppose fear was setting back in, and a bit of doubting was setting back in, and I was like, just keep the focus. And then that quote, I read it, and I read that quote every time. I have it actually saved to my phone, to my gallery, and I read that quote like most days, and I'm just like, it just keeps me going there. You know,
Brilliant.
it's this really good quote, really strong and powerful, I think. So to the people, go for it. Literally go for it. Take the jump because no matter what, it will always work out.
What about the ones who judge? What about the ones who judge the shit
Yeah.
out of the things they know nothing about? Because, and
Mm,
again, no judgment to them. What I'm trying to say is the people who are very quick to judge
yeah.
the unexperienced thing. What would you say to them?
I'd say to them, be careful what way you put it out there because unless you've experienced what that person has done or wants to do, you have you have no real choice,
Mm,
to say that to them. Like, that's like, it's kind of a stupid analogy, really, isn't it? Like, people kind of judge in that way. I know we have the right to, but
yeah.
in another sense, they don't really have the right to because
No,
they
that we
haven't
I think we
experienced.
judge the shit out of each other, you know?
Yeah.
And like I mean this I'll give you a prime example of what I'm talking about, right?
Mm,
Jack will go for like could do a 10K jog before he'd go to
yeah.
work, before he'd go and do his day job.
Mm,
And he would send me a Snapchat video while he's running by my house, while I'm flat out asleep like roadkill in my bed. And he's doing the equivalent of like David Goggins, come on, Melissa, come on, time to get up, get up, get at him, get at him. They're going,
Ah,
because like this was just after Christmas, and I'm like giving myself shit because I'm after probably eating every uh quality street chocolate in the place and was feeling shitty about myself and the whole lot. And the
mm,
quickest thing, this is just to give an example, the quickest thing is that we do is
yeah.
piss off, boom, put the phone away, when
Of
when
course,
you've
of
been
course.
triggered by um the truth of you, because that's what it is, when one
Yeah,
person judges another person, they're judging themselves. They
yeah,
really are. And I don't think that we in life and society realize the impact our words have on another
exactly,
person when we
exactly.
go to judge the shit out of them without actually even realizing we're judging ourselves.
Yeah,
I can
that's
watch
the
you
thing.
run down the road on the thing and go, well, it's okay for Jack because he's like 20 and he's fit as a fiddle, and then I come up with all the excuses.
Yeah,
But until
yeah,
what I'm doing is I'm judging myself, that I'm giving myself
mm,
a hard time. beating
Yeah.
myself up. I'm comparing, which is the nemesis of this shit. Comparing myself. There's no comparison. There's your journey and you're on your journey. There's my journey and I'm on mine.
Yeah.
But what I
Yeah.
love when you can turn that judgment inside out is you inspire the shit out of me. And
Yeah.
because of that video in particular of Jack running by my house, I made a conscious choice to really address my own
Yeah.
physical fitness and stuff. And I'm 3 weeks into tackling my own stuff because of the inspiration that you are. And I think you're a prime example that no matter who you are, you don't know and don't realize who you're impacting. Because there's a
Yes.
whole generation of us looking at the generation coming behind us, and you guys are on fire, and you're proof of it right here, right now in front of me.
Yeah.
You're proof
Thank
of
you.
it. So I really appreciate you joining me for this conversation
No
today.
bother at all.
I'm extremely, extremely, extremely proud of you.
Oh, cheers.
I am. I genuinely am. I'm so proud of you. I know our family is very, very proud of you as well. You're an incredible young man and a huge, huge influence to the people around you where we live. So thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
this. It was an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Not at all. Thank you for having me on. Been able to have a bit of a chat.
Yeah. Until next time, let's
Okay.
do this again.
Definitely. Definitely.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Melissa. Bye bye.
Talk to you soon, guys. Thanks for watching for anyone joining us today.
Thank you,
Anybody
guys.
actually, sorry, anybody who wants to connect with this guy, we will
Yeah.
pop his Instagram and his Facebook in the comments after the show. And if you want to reach out and connect with Jack, please do.
Do.
The world
Do.
needs more people like you.
No problem. Yeah. If you want to connect, hit me up. No problem at all. I'll get back to you.
Thanks a million. Thanks for
Thank you,
watching,
guys.
everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.